Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. We have a new 11 by 17 inch document at 300 pixels per inch. We're going to recreate the elephant images seen here. One is darker, one is lighter, but they both are blending the same two pictures together. And I'm going to show you how to recreate that from scratch. So first things first, we need to make two new layers in here by dragging and dropping our pictures from, I'm going to drop them from Bridge, but you could drag and drop them from Windows as long as you can see which pictures you want. You can drag them in. So I'm going to drag in the upper part. We have the elephant right there, the top half. Right, this is Jerry Uelsmann style. We're going to have something continue down here. Go ahead and make that a leg from another image. So as I'm looking down my list of many pictures off screen, I can now see the image that I want to add. So the first thing you'll notice is that when we bring it in, the size isn't quite right. So what I'm going to do is resize the lower half. I'm going to hold the Shift key and drag over and upward until I've made it roughly the same size. That's looking pretty good. Maybe I can make it just a bit smaller. But I'll go ahead and hit the check in the upper right hand corner or press the Enter key to confirm that that's the size that I want. Now what I need to do is blend these two images. Okay, I'm going to drag them both. Whoops. I'm going to drag them both above all my other elements. And what I need to do is basically soften the edge where they overlap. So I'll put the legs in front. So you can see the legs are in front of the nose, and I want to use a fuzzy eraser to soften the edge. But what I need to do first is establish a mask. So I'm going to click on the layer that I want to erase from. And I'm going to make a brand new mask hitting this little Japanese flag looking button in the layers window in the bottom right corner. So that establishes a mask. Right now the mask is at 100% density. We want to leave that as it is, but we're going to want to erase from that. Right now the entire mask is white, which means the entire picture is visible. So what we want to do is erase with a very fuzzy eraser to soften that edge. So if I hide it, you can see what we're doing. We're basically creating some fade from the edge of this picture and then into this picture. So then we can play around with how high we want it to go. I think I'd like to keep the elephant's eye. I just want his trunk to look like his leg. So we do a little resizing. Alright, I kind of like the look of that, but I want to shrink it down so it takes up a little less space. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and I'm going to select both of my pictures. And in order to treat them as a single unit, the easiest thing to do is go to Layer and ask for a new group from layers. And any layer that's selected will be part of this group. So I'll just call it Elephant 2. You can assign a color to it, like if you wanted to show up red in the layers window rather than something else, you can. All it really does is make this little box look red, doesn't tint the pictures red at all. So what I want to do with this is shrink it in just a little bit, but you'll notice when we shrink it in, we have uneven borders. So the original elephant photo on the top of the elephant head, it was only this wide, but the bottom one, when we resized it, it became much larger. So what we want to do, rather than take the time to erase from this image again, we're going to take the entire group and apply a rectangular marquee over the part we want to keep. So I'm clicking and dragging a box over the area I want to keep. It could be as far down as here, but I actually think it would look better if we go a little further and add a little bit of space below the feet. So what I'm going to do is then press again my layer mask button, add layer mask to the Japanese flag, and that will make it so only the items that were inside of that rectangular marquee box are visible. So now we can move it around as a single unit. You can change it to black and white using an adjustment layer. Let me see, black and white. Good. You can adjust the brightness and contrast if you need it to be a little bit brighter and lower contrast. Whatever you feel is necessary to get the image looking its best. You know, maybe you want black and white at 70%, so the colors are very faded, or 55%. But I'm pretty happy with it as a black and white image. So what I'm going to do is go to File, I'm going to go to Save As. We'll save it as my last name, Jerry U video. Alright, that's cool. I'll save it as a PSD because that has the layers. Yeah, we'll replace the old one. And then we're going to save this as a JPEG. And the reason we always want to save a JPEG copy is that the JPEG copy is universal. You can view it on a computer that doesn't have Photoshop installed, and you can have it printed on a computer that doesn't have Photoshop installed. So it's a great way to share or move your picture around without it being the only copy that you have. So again, it's important to have the JPEG and the Photoshop document. The JPEG is universal, and the Photoshop document allows you to have all these sublayers, which you can then move and adjust to make changes later down the line. So the JPEG is almost like a copy. The Photoshop document, that is your work in progress. So we have saved it, and now we're good to go.